Radio Cairo, and this is World of Info. My name is Dr. Amr MABROuk. Dua Muhammad is at the control, and we are here with you for 1 hour. And today in the World of Info, we are presenting the world of books. Today we are presenting 4 interesting books. From Strength to Strength by Arthur Brooks, Eat Your Ice Cream by Eskiel Emanuel, The Land and Its People by David Cedrus, and Red Card by Jules Boykoff. So stay tuned to us. We're coming right after the break with the first book. So we're back after this break, and we are talking about the first book. And the first book of today is by Arthur Brooks, From Strength to Strength. And Arthur Brooks is a professor in Harvard University, and he has also had an education in sociology. As a professor of sociology, he worked in Harvard University and Kennedy School of Business and of Public Administration, and he is a very well-known author. And he has talked about a very important thing, which is how you can go from strength to strength, how to change your field of interest, like what happened to him first when he was quite young, how he can change his career and go on for another series of education, meaning that you can do that. You can have the strength, especially when you are young, because you have what we call the liquid intelligence, which is the intelligence that you can grasp everything when you are young. You can read and study and memorize with your brand new intelligence and the brand new memory that you have, and therefore you can really, in very few years, can grasp a lot of science or education and make use of it. And he's referring that a lot of the people or the scientists who have received the Nobel Prize were actually in their young years, whether they were in mid-30s or early 40s. And this means that they have made their biggest accomplishment in life at this period of time. So what happens when you are reaching your 40s, your 50s? How far are you going to succeed and find your way, or to keep the success rate and accomplishment that you have made in your early life? And sometimes people call this as the middle age crisis, because suddenly you have produced a lot, you have reached the peak of your work, you have used your intelligence properly. And he's talking about successful people who have really fulfilled most of their dreams. So if they are business people, or if they are scientists, or if they are professors, or if they were nominated for higher prizes like Nobel, they would have reached that always by the age of 45 maximum. So what happens in 50s? Should he stop? Does he have the same stamina to work? Actually, the intelligence change from the liquid labile state of your memory and your intelligence to the crystalline things, or the crystalline memory and intelligence, which makes you able to analyze what you have done or what you have read. And this is what we call the wisdom. Therefore, you have to know that you undergo metamorphosis. And this metamorphosis, or the change of how you were in young years, and how you are perceiving the others, and how you are perceiving the work, this can put you into another level of higher education, or what we can call higher wisdom. So knowing this fact will help to take it a bit easier. So you will use now this type of intelligence or this type of wisdom in a different way. What you are supposed to do is, for example, like professors of science and professor of history, they reach their peak of their capabilities of teaching and communicating with their younger students in the late ages of 50s and 60s and even 70s, because they were able to use this new crystalline intelligence that they have acquired through the years, to use this intelligence to convey the message, to convey the wisdom of what they have known, to lead research teams who are very enthusiastic and lack the experience and need a guiding patron who will help them with propagating the knowledge and the information and arranging their thoughts properly, reaching a good diagnosis or a good phase of evolvement and evolution. He also said that when you reach this golden age, you have to enjoy what you have done. And what you do to enjoy this is by simply, sometimes the very rich people will enjoy that by doing, for example, buying a lot of expensive things. And this greed of buying things is not the real thing that brings happiness, or that he would go and say, I will pass through the whole world and make a vacation all over the world. And he will just make ticks on the countries that he visited. Or, for example, trying to meet more important people. For example, sometimes for charity, some very important celebrities would say, you can have dinner with me and you will pay, for example, $5,000 or $10,000, and this will go to charity. So this type of use of money is not the ideal thing. What he is interested, Brooks, to convey is that you have to enjoy life. You have to read more, you have to relax more, and you have to use your newly found crystalline intelligence to make use of it and use it in getting more and more experience and joy of life. So this could be really an interesting idea, and from an interesting book, From Strengths to Strengths by Arthur Brooks. And after that, after this beautiful book, we'll have a break and stay tuned to us in Radio Cairo. You're still listening to the World of Info, and today in the World of Books. This is the second book of today, and my name is Dr. Amr MABROUK, and Dua Muhammad is still at the control. And let's go to the second book, which is really a very interesting one, and it is called The Eat Your Ice Cream by Zach Emanuel. Zach Emanuel used to be an associate professor of oncology in Harvard University, and now he's a professor of oncology at the University of Pennsylvania. And this makes him worked in two very distinguished universities, and thus he definitely has a great experience in the field of oncology. But this book is more or less like a self-help book, more than it is a book of oncology. Why? Because he was involved during the Obama tenure and early Biden as well in the health service and helping and promotion of health care in the public sector. So he has some ideas that he's trying to convey about how to live a healthy life. So he is presenting in this book, which has this very interesting name, Eat Your Ice Cream. This means that he's advising that we should eat ice cream to be happy. No, he says that there are 6 rules for a long and a healthy and a happy life. And he said that in this advice of his, the 6 advices, there are things that should be taken very seriously, things that you should not do, and things that you should do to live this healthy, long, and happy life. He decided to start right away by a very attractive name or topic to discuss, which is don't be a schmuck. Schmuck is a stupid person who does mistakes and pass into a lot of stupidity. Once Einstein said in a very famous saying that there are 2 infinite things in the world, the universe and stupidity. And I'm not that sure of the universe, because stupidity is infinite. And yes, a lot of stupid people make stupid mistakes that can really, they pay the price with their health and with their own life. So what are the things that you should avoid? He said that the first thing that you should avoid is drugs, and any hallucination substance that might lead to addiction. Definitely not only destroys the physical power of you, but it leads you to the extreme dependence on them, and at the same time it eats up your brain. And he, of course, is challenging what the some states are now allowing the use of cannabis or marijuana as sort what we can call medicinal. But there are a lot of studies that were made with people who take the habit of smoking marijuana, and it was found that their intelligence and their cerebral cortex itself has decreased in size, and their ability to work or to comprehend a lot of things is definitely reduced by drugs. So he said, don't you ever start this habit, and don't you ever think that you are invincible. And by meaning also, don't be stupid. The second important point is smoking. He said you should not smoke because there is no any benefit of smoking, and once you start smoking, you will find yourself going into downhill in the health. And people who smoke will either die from cardiac conditions, or from cancer, or from fibrosis of the lung and cancer of the lung. And he's also reporting that these vapes and e-cigarettes are hellish, and they don't let you stop the habit of smoking, but it introduces you to more chances of fibrosis of the lung, and definitely delayed healing. The third important point is alcohol. You should avoid drinking because there is no reasonable reason to believe that alcohol has any benefit to the human body. And the rumor that was given about that red wine can really improve, has an antioxidant effect and really help the coronaries to stay patent. This is totally false, because you can have the same effect from grape juice without alcohol. Alcohol by itself, in and out of itself, has no benefit whatsoever. The addiction of alcohol, the problems of alcoholism are very dangerous. They affect and destroy the liver, and they affect and destroy the brain, leading to affection of your will and your power and of your intelligence as well. And it is very important to know that. And of course, till the maybe 2010s, there was the number of people who died from drinking under the effect of alcohol was very high. And then there was sort of a reduction in this with the extensive law and the work of the surveillance of the police, who check always the drivers for the presence of alcohol, and the percentage of alcohol in blood that is considered dangerous is being reduced. For example, in some countries like Brazil, the percentage of alcohol in the blood of any driver should be 0%. So this percent has helped to reduce the number of accidents. But another thing that is causing accidents now is the use of mobiles and doing texting during driving. And this is, of course, has the same effect on losing their concentration, and this makes people really suffer and make accidents. So if this happens, then these patients or these people are doomed or could easily die from these accidents. So now texting while driving is one of the leading causes of death in the United States from car accidents. So another reasons how to not to be a schmuck. The second important point is how to live a long and healthy life by having the good habit of talking to people. Talking to people means to be a social person, having a lot of friends and keeping contact with your friends and with your relatives will help you to pass through this life knowing others and having a great encounter with people. This brings happiness to you and happiness to the people that you're living with. And he was giving the example of his father, who was a physician, and he was always happy to talk to people when they're sitting, for example, in a restaurant or whenever they are taking a bus or a train, he starts talking with strangers, and then by the end of their stay with them, 1 hour or 2 hours, he becomes really a good friend of them. And he said, although sometimes when he was young or when he was a kid with his dad, he thought that this is inappropriate, but by time he grew, thinking that this gives the warmth to any person who does that, and at the same time, it keeps him surrounded by people who like his talk or who he likes him to listen to him, and therefore this is really a very interesting thing. Another thing, or the third point, is how to expand your mind. He said we should always go on reading and increasing the amount of intelligence of ours by reading books and finding a way to expanding our mind. And the continuous reading definitely helps us not only to gain knowledge or to gain information, but it helps keep your brain intact. It helps making you engulf more information. And if you are also talking, so you will talk, you'll find things to talk about this with the people that you know. So reading is not only improves your skills, but it also gives you topics to speak about when you are in any function. And therefore you will be always admired to be a person who knows things, and people would ask you to talk to them about these topics that you have read. And therefore this thing that goes really in what we can call a good vicious circle. It's when you are reading and explaining what you have read to the people who you love and who you have shared with them your friendship, this will make you a very interesting person. The fourth thing, which is the eating habits. If you are eating processed food or if you are eating junk food, this is very, very dangerous, because this will increase the predisposition of cholesterol in your arteries, leading to their narrowing. And these things will lead to the narrowing of the coronary arteries of the heart, also to the vessels of the brain, and therefore decreasing your intelligence and passing you into a series of microinfarcts or thrombi that will definitely precipitate dementia. So that's why you should choose what you eat properly. Yes, the book name is Eat Your Ice Cream. Yes, you can eat ice cream, but you eat very small amount of ice cream, not a big amount. And perhaps one of the very good positive things is that he's talking about sodas. And sodas are either with caffeine or with no caffeine, with sugar or no sugar, with the saccharin or sweeteners. He said that this is very dangerous. If you are taking this gaseous material every day, whether these are, if they are sugary, they are full of calories, and this makes them very, very dangerous. And you can pass into a great and a big problem if you are taking them. The second, if you are using these ones, which are really causing a problem, these ones which are the what we call the sweeteners, because these sweeteners, when you take them, they will sometimes falsely stimulate the pancreas to secrete insulin. And if this happens, there will be a sort of sensation of hunger, and this sensation will lead you to eat more. And also these gaseous material can lead to some distension of the abdomen, and that's what we call the bad belly that you can see. So he's advising not to drink soda whatsoever, and if you're drinking one, you to do that only maximally once every week, or better, never to use that. So when we talk more about that, we will have to take care of everything that we eat, or otherwise we'll pass into big problems. And the third important thing is exercise. He said we have to move, and movement is the key to success in doing any really effective way of exercise. There are two types of exercise: the moderate exercise or the vigorous exercise. And the moderate exercise is what we know. If you walk, for example, or aiming to walk in a good walk, not necessarily running. So you will do an exercise of 1 hour. 1 hour walk will definitely improve your joints, improve your well-being, let you secrete a lot of serotonin that will make you happy. And at the same time, keep your arteries patent, because this will prevent the precipitation of cholesterol in the vessels that you are having, especially the vessels of the neck that leads to the brain and therefore leading to dementia. So the more you exercise, the more you will keep your vessels, whether these are the coronaries or the carotids of the neck, patent, and therefore you will have less chances to develop heart attacks or dementia. Of course, this is a very good advice. And if you are doing vigorous sports, then do it. In the vigorous sports, you will do less time than the ones that you are doing in moderate exercise. Last but not least is how to live a happy life is by trying to enjoy sleeping, because sleeping is very, very important. If you don't sleep well by night, you will wake up with a great fatigue and lack of energy, and this will prevent you from enjoying the life that you need. Give yourself the time and the chance to sleep good, continuous 6 or 7 hours every day, and this will definitely help you to find your way to a better life. So this advice by Dr. Zach Emanuel is definitely an advice to be taken. So don't be a schmuck. Talk to people, expand your mind, eat properly, and move, and try to find good sleep. This will help you to live a long and a healthy and a happy life, something to really to cherish. So I think this will give you an idea of this beautiful book, Eat Your Ice Cream by Zach Emanuel. After the break, we'll talk more about books. Stay tuned to us in Radio Cairo. So we're back with the world of books and the world of info. And today, the third book of today is called The Land and Its People by David Sedaris. This is a different book because it's a number of 28 essays written by this author, who is a famous comedian writer. And this book, it was released less than 2 months ago or 1 month ago, and suddenly it became number one in the New York Times bestseller books. And I found it very hard to understand how a book can be published, and at the moment of it's published, it finds its place as number one in the New York Times bestsellers. So who's David Sedaris? David Sedaris is an American writer from Greek origins, from his side of his father and his mother. And he's living currently in New York, and he has written a lot of books. And usually he's also a contributing writer to the New Yorker and the New York Times. And he has many books that have reached the New York Times bestseller. So this could be interesting. Well, I didn't find that book very interesting as I thought, because the prose is a bit difficult, and it gives you an idea about the life in the United States. And he is going through the pages as a sort of expressing his emotions about people he encounters with, or friends, or family, or parents, and expecting things that usually don't happen. And this makes the book a bit strange. For example, he likes to travel. So when he traveled for a safari in Kenya, he was the only one, or in Tanzania as well, he was the only one in this group of travelers who didn't have a camera with him. He didn't want to have any photograph of the animals, he said. Well, everybody is interested to photograph their safaris. Another month's time is that he met nice people, and he decided that he will go with them to another trip. So they went to Guatemala, and Guatemala has a special type of tourism, is that to examine the volcanoes that are not erupting, but of course they have some activities. So you do hiking, and then you ride a horse till you reach the peak and have a look on the on this volcano at the tip of the volcano, and you see some activity of it. So when he was standing with his horse on top of this volcano, all what he had is in his mind was, what happens if the horse suddenly gets agitated and he throws me inside this volcano, which has some activity, and I will be burned to death. This is a very vivid thought of examining what he has just discussed, and this is very strange. The second important chapter or essay was about his visit to invitation that he had, and a lot of comic writers and comedians were invited by Pope Francis I to have a dinner in the Vatican, where the Pope gave them a speech of how laughter and induce happiness, and that the more that you make people happy and laughing, the more life would be much easier on them. So it's a beautiful message. So he was sitting and attending this dinner, and he was not that much interested, because he is not a practicing Christian, and his family are Greek Orthodox. So he he's not a member of the Catholic Church, and so he spent the time to examine and look on the Vatican, and look at and talking with the people next to him, and he had a golden chance to greet the Pope himself and shake hands with him, and this didn't really give him any touch of accomplishment. And this what makes this writer specialist, because he discusses and tells us stories that looking from the perspective of people that usually these people don't write. For example, he once rode a train, and in the car there was a guy who was putting on his music without listening ears system, and so it was annoying everyone in the train. So he took the initiative and shouted to the guy and said him, stop this sound. And then he started telling that should this guy be should I have done that or not, or maybe this guy is going to insult me, or should things will get out of control, or then he found out that the guy was just coming out of rehab after being rehabilitating from alcoholism, and then he found him starting drinking again when he ordered for a beer from the guy from the buffet of the train. And at the same time, this stimulated him to think of how he himself was involved in addiction for some years of his life, of every bad things, drugs and alcohol, and how he weaned himself and stopped that since 1999. So the book is full of stories like that. When he, for example, has known that his best friend, he had a best friend who were very good friends until they were 15. And at the age of 15, they had a big quarrel, and so they stopped seeing each other. So now at the age of 67, he knew from his brother that this gentleman, who was a very close friend of his, died, and he haven't seen him for the past 50 years. So these stories are common human stories. The comedy inside them is definitely a black comedy. It's not that comic, but he tells us about his life and his encounter with people, and how he is living in New York, and how he is feeling sometimes fears and feeling sometimes sympathy, and sometimes visiting places or going to places where he should not go. He's telling us about his trips, different places, and he doesn't give us the normal way or what we think is normal about what he has seen or what he is doing. So for me, from my side, I didn't enjoy much the book, but all the critics have written that this is one of his best books, and that it is very enjoyable, and that everybody is thinking that this book deserves to be read. Well, tastes differ, and the idea that I think that this book was a success is the different way that he has written his encounter with people and with movements and with the land. And that's why he called the book The Land and Its People. 28 essays by David Sedaris, who's resting comfortably as #1 this week in the New York Times bestseller. So stay tuned with us for more books. So we're back with the world of info, and today is the world of books. And the final book of today is a very interesting book that has been just published 1 month ago. It's called The Red Card by Jules Boykoff. And Jules Boykoff is a very interesting gentleman because he was a player of the national team of the United States, and he played in the World Cup of the youngsters below 23. And after he retired from being a football player, he became a professor he studied. He went back to studying and got a PhD in political science, and he's a professor of political science. So he has great interest in writing about a very important event that's happening nowadays, and that is the FIFA and, of course, the World Cup that is going on today. The World Cup today is one of the biggest World Cups ever made because it has 48 teams, and it is happening consecutively in the same time, concurrently, in 3 countries. These are the countries of North America: Mexico, the United States, and Canada, which makes this a very unique event. And he has decided to write this book to tell us in 2 important things. The first important thing, he's giving a short resume of the history of FIFA, which is the International Federation of Football. And in this idea, he talked about, for example, one of the International Federation of Football has been formed in the early 20th century. But it was the idea of Jules Rimet when he became the head of this FIFA in 1921. He aimed to have a World Cup. And this is what happened in the year 1930 under the direction of Jules Rimet, who used to spend money even from his own pocket or from his own resources. And he made and chose that the first country to have the football cup, or the World Cup, is in the Uruguay. And Uruguay, by the way, is the one that he took the trophy. The second cup was made in 1934 in Italy. And at that time, there was Benito Mussolini, the Duce, the dictator, the fascist dictator, who wanted this to be a big publicity for him. He pushed the people of Italy to the verge of to become very fanatic behind their team. And he even said that God help any other team that will face Italy and defeat Italy in these games. But lucky enough, nothing happened because Italy was the successful team and became the World Cup holder of 1934. But this has seen how politics can really affect one of the most popular games of the world. In 1934 in Italy, what happened is that even Mussolini decided to have a special cup called the Coppa della Duce, which was bigger than the Cup of the World of the Cup of the World of FIFA, and he gave this trophy to his team, the Italian team, just as a sort of a big advertisement to this World Cup for Italy, the fascist Italy. The second important person who ruled FIFA, there were two unimportant gentlemen who ruled. One of them died during his tenure, or two of them died during their tenure. And then there was Stanley Ross in 1961. He stayed from 1961 till 1974. And this was the start of the golden period of the World Cup, where things are beginning to be very highly organized. And at the same time, this was the great idea of building up a very well-organized cup competition. And in the other famous gentleman was Haviland from Brazil in 1974, and he stayed until 1998. What's famous about Haviland is that he decided to give it, he was from Brazil, he decided to give the competition in 1978 to the Argentinians. At that time, the Argentinian regime was not the military junta that went up to power after the decision of that Argentina is going to have the organization of the cup. And this military junta, who have made a lot of atrocities, had a golden chance to publicize their regime the same way like Mussolini did in 1934, in 1978, to pretend that they, or to clean up their reputation. And of course, this was a very strange thing. Then came the Blatter reign. The Blatter ruled, or was the head of the FIFA from 1998 till 2015. Now it's becoming an empire with billions of dollars from the sponsorship that is given, from the amount of broadcasting services that are given to channels all over the world, from the fact that millions or hundreds or billions of people are watching these games. So it became an irresistible investment that can really be seeing a lot of atrocities of money laundering and stealing and theft. And therefore, Blatter was removed from the helm of power in 2015. And there was a lot of rumors about that, the decision that he made to give the cup organization for Russia, and of course after that for Qatar. So he was kicked out, and in 2016 there was Infantino, or Gianni Infantino, Italian with a Swiss nationality, and he is the one who during the first reign of Trump made the arrangement that the Cup of 2026 will be in the United States, Canada, and Mexico. So this is a very strange arrangement that will happen again in 2030, and this is going to be in Portugal and in Spain and Morocco. So and in 1934 it will be in Saudi Arabia. So what is important, or what the writer Jules Boykoff is trying to say, that Gianni Infantino has politicized the World Cup, and that he is a great supporter of President Trump. But the important information we have to know first is that Trump, when he signed this agreement in 2016, in 2026, he was not supposed to be in power, because he thought that he was going to stay 2 tenures, and these tenures will end in 2024. But suddenly he lost the elections of 2020, and then he returned to power in 2024. So Jules Boykoff is attacking or saying that there should be a red card against the FIFA, and you should read the book to understand the point of view of Jules Boykoff. Was he true or right? And of course, what we are seeing now is a great event and really great football to watch. So I think this will be our final book of today. Stay tuned to us in Radio Cairo, the world of info. So by this, we have reached the end of our program for today. This was the world of info, and today was the world of books. We have presented 4 books today. I think they are very interesting ones. The first book was From Strength to Strength by Arthur Brooks. The second book is Eat Your Ice Cream by Askiel Emmanuel. And the third book, The Land and Its People by David Cedrus. And the fourth book is Red Card by Jude Bykoff. So we promise to come back the same time, same station. Stay tuned to us in Radio Cairo. And my name is Dr. Amr MABROUK. Dua Muhammad is at the control. And see you next week.